Welcome inside Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh, North Carolina, where the regular season is coming to a close and the road to postseason is just beginning. Tonight, NC State hosts West Virginia in the final home meet of the season, with both teams looking to build momentum before conference championships and regionals. Good evening, I'm Rachel Garland alongside Sydney Sneed. And Sydney, again, last home meet. What can we expect? What are we looking for tonight?
Postseason starts next weekend, so both teams are looking at how to maximize their scores tonight. That's going to come from the small details like the handstands, the stuck landings, and of course hit routines. Absolutely, and both teams again looking for really strong scores. Let's take a look at some of those top gymnasts from each team just so we know what we are looking for. Starting with NC State, Sanaya Thomas has been on fire this season. You can see there are 20 top 3 finishes, 8 individual event titles, and there is just so much more for her to accomplish. Katie Harper going in the record book, second in program history with 11 career scores of 9.9 plus on the uneven bars. West Virginia, we have Kayla Smith, only a freshman, but has been able to adjust to college gymnastics so quickly and has just been lights out ever since. We see a 38.985 NQS average, really impressive. And then Amber Lowe, she really shines on bars and beam, just had a 9.9 recently on balance beam, so we'll be watching out for that tonight as well. All right, and we will take a look at their head coach, Jason Butts, in his 15th season. You can see 11 NCAA regional appearances with the team overall, but he has had a number of individual regional qualifiers. That's one thing that they are really looking forward to this year, is getting more and more of their gymnasts to the postseason. NC State on the other side, Coach Landris in her 9th season. You can see there's 7 straight NCAA regional appearances with the team, and they are very much looking to make it back to regionals and hopefully have a bid at nationals later on. Taking a look at the lineups, NC State again as the home team is going to rotate vault, uneven bars, beam, and then floor. West Virginia will start on bars, and there you can see the lineups. Lauren Wright getting started for the Wolfpack has just been phenomenal in that leadoff spot. And Kaylin Skeel for West Virginia, their head coach, mentioned prior to the broadcast that he puts a lot of emphasis on that leadoff person, just really to set the tone and start the momentum for each team. So looking forward to seeing West Virginia on the uneven bars. Team just getting some last-minute pointers, both sides. We're going to alternate back and forth. So again, NC State will start on the vault. Once Lauren is finished, we'll go over to the uneven bar. So you'll get to see every routine this evening. Lauren, a career high last week, 9.875. She starts off with a Yurchenko full. Really solid for the Wolfpack team. You could see she had nice body extension through the air, was able to drop in and absorb that landing. To call it out right away, the Yurchenko full that she does starts at that 9.95. So you're already down half a tenth, which is why you want to minimize those deductions. But again, a hop in place, so really strong start for them. Fantastic leadoff for the junior, moving right over to the bars. A sophomore getting them started. Kaylin Skeel is a bar specialist. Career high of a 9.775 on this event. Solid. Big Tkachev for her release move. Down to the bail. This really is a great opportunity for West Virginia to set the tone for the rest of their lineup. Double layout. Just broke out a little bit early. I like how she was able to cover up that hop forward she had. That's going to be the deduction there. The judges will probably take at least a tenth on that hop and the chest down. But overall, again, a strong start. They wanted a hit. Something that Coach talked about was that 24 for 24 routine tonight. That's what he's looking for on each event.
Absolutely. So both teams getting started with a strong start. Emerson Fisk, the freshman from Florida, in the second spot on this vault lineup.
We'll see a Yurchenko full from her as well. A lot of power on that. She always gets a ton of distance from the vault table to the landing. You could see she had to take that extra hop on that one. But we'll look from this angle. You can see nice approach onto the table, and then take a look at how far back her feet are. So not only does she have height on that, but power as well.
Fisk had a career high last week as well at 9.85. So a strong start. 2 up, 2 hits for the Wolfpack. Back over to the bars. This is Kayla Smith, our first look at the all-arounder. Kayla's hit a career high 9.8 2 times this year. She's been in lineup every weekend.
Really impressive to be in the lineup every weekend. We're nearing the end of season now, so that's a lot of meets and competition that these athletes have been through the entire, just all season long.
Absolutely. Talking to their head coach ahead of time, he actually talked about how the freshmen, he almost had to like tame down their training because they're used to club training and not college training.
Which are two very different things. Nice Maloney down to Bale. We've seen that combination a lot in college gymnastics this year. Judges are looking for that handstand on top of the bar. She was a bit short, but was able to stick her double tuck dismount. So nice job, a couple things here and there that they might deduct on, but it's always nice to end with, I like to call it the exclamation mark, that stuck landing when you're able to show the judges no deduction on the last skill. See, she does a blindfold, nice height in the air, spots the landing.
So West Virginia matches NC State. They are 2 hits for 2 on their first event. Autumn Rardin, the freshman out of Columbus, Ohio.
She does a unique 10-0 start value vault. Huge front handspring to front pike half. The block she gets off of the table is phenomenal. You see her elbows are straight on the approach. She pushes through her shoulders and her fingertips. Right there. Just that hop back. We always say power is such a good thing when you're able to control it. So that jump back is gonna be her biggest deduction.
Almost looked like she could have opened a little bit earlier on after that twist that she had. So freshman on vault over to a freshman on the uneven bars. This is Haley Mendoza, a bar and beam specialist, but she has not missed a bar lineup yet. Haley also with a career high of a 9.775. Similar to Kaylin Skeel in the leadoff. Always fun. Each team now, I feel like, has a unique item that if they get a stick, West Virginia has I believe it's a plunger.
Everyone's getting so creative these days.
They are.
With their celebrations.
When we hosted Stanford a couple weeks ago, it's always the stick. So Haley ready to mount the bars.
We've mentioned it a little already, but on bars, the judges really want to see the handstand on top of or within a 10-degree mark for that no deduction range. And then the execution, the straight legs, pointed toes throughout, and then always finishing with the stuck landing. Nice double layout, almost had it. Clean routine throughout. those points of emphasis, again, that we talk about, those are the things that we'll be focusing on and what the judges are seeing as well. She had a really nice double layout. I like her extension. She gets her toes up on the release, extends it, and then just a little step, yeah.
Almost held on there at the end. Back over to vault. A first take at Maddie Hall, the junior out of Hampton, Virginia. Went 9-8 last week.
Tons of power. I really liked that vault. Starting from the approach, the block, the body extension in the air, just the form throughout. And then absorbing at the end. She had so much power. You see her arms flare out. That is going to be a big score for NC State. And so far, the best one that we've seen all together tonight.
So a huge stick out of Maddie Hall on that Yurchenko full. Amber Lowe getting ready to mount the bars, the junior out of Ackworth, Georgia.
Looks like the scores are taking a little bit longer tonight, longer than usual, which is something to keep in mind. Just from that mental mind game you can play with yourself. Typically we see that with the judges conference.
Looks like just waiting on the head judge to enter the score into the computer, but it does, you're ready, you're in that mindset. And you just want to go. Lowe, one of the consistent players in this lineup. Scores have ranged between a 9.725 and a 9.85 and hasn't veered much off of that.
She's a very consistent athlete, really aggressive on this event. Nice pack salto down to low bar. She's had a great rhythm throughout this routine. See her hit that handstand on top of the bar. Double tuck, breaks out of it. Really nicely done routine. We've seen West Virginia building score after score, athlete after athlete, and that's exactly what they wanted to come in first event and be steady throughout. But look at the extension she got on that release move. And then finishing, you saw her arms literally let go of her legs to break out.
Love that from Lowe on the uneven bars. Back to the vault, Ava Myers, the sophomore from Cedar Grove, New Jersey, can put up some really big scores herself.
Another Yurchenko full. I really like the extension that she's always able to get on the full twist, which is important. You want to minimize as much deduction as you can when your vault is starting from that 9.95, half of a tenth lower. But she does a nice job right here, pushing off through her fingertips, extending all the way out. Again, it's just those landings. Where can they find that extra half a tenth to a tenth? And that's where it's going to come from. In the air, the execution, the vaults look really clean. But again, their biggest deduction are those hot backs.
And that's one thing that Coach Landris had mentioned last week versus Ohio State. They were so good at those landings. She really wants to continue that momentum. They worked on it heavily in practice and minimized those deductions. So all those 1/10 hops, her goal is to get it to a half tenth.
It's important to note too, these stuck landings, they aren't just lucky. You don't get lucky. You practice these, whether it's through drills or basics or actual routines. So it's something that takes time that you build up.
This is Jaden McDonald, another bar specialist for this West Virginia team.
So far, so good on this routine. This is a full out at the dismount, a little too much power. She had a lot of rotation on that dismount, really whipped around quickly. But they're doing their job. They wanted to come in and hit, like we said, all of their routines, controlling what they can control, but also having fun was what Coach said about West Virginia and his team.
Absolutely, and you see that big score coming in from Amber Lowe, that 9.875. So on a roll for this West Virginia bar team as Sanaya Thomas in the 6th and final spot for the vault rotation.
So much power. She did a really nice job controlling it because we could see off of the vault table how much distance, amplitude, everything that she had going for her heading into the end right here. Look at all of that. Just a tiny bit earlier, if she would have broken out, it would have been a perfect stick, but that was pretty close because she definitely could have taken a way bigger hop back. So nice job.
Absolutely. She won the vault event last weekend with her second career high meet in a row of a 9.9. It'll probably be pretty close to that with that tiny little hop. And we do have some exhibitions, so although Sanaya was last in the lineup, we will see some of the seniors especially doing some exhibitions this evening. In that 6th place spot for West Virginia on the uneven bars, Journey Lane. She had a career high a couple weeks ago of a 9.825 back from March 1st.
We just jinxed it talking about the conference.
We did.
That the judges have. We just talked about points of emphasis, but to take another look again, those handstands, the release moves that we've seen, just the height you're getting over the bar, the extension that your elbows have and your arms have when you're re-catching, and then again, the dismount.
And let's talk a little bit about the mental aspect too. So she was ready to mount the bar. She was on the mat, ready for her coach to pull the springboard out from behind her. And then you've got to go back and...
I think it's hard too. You don't realize just that mental side and what you're thinking before you go up to compete. So props to her for stepping away from the event. She went back to chalk up, and sometimes that's what you have to do to kind of reset, because you might have this routine that you're used to doing before you salute the judges. So being able to step away, kind of redo almost in a way, but it definitely is difficult.
Absolutely. You see 3 judges there. So 2 of those are the judges on the event. One of them is the meet referee. So coming in just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And it actually throws NC State off too, because now they have to wait a little bit longer.
Typically the conference is when there's a discrepancy in the start value, or maybe if a skill was missed. But you can see she's just staying loose, talking it out.
And a lot of teams practice for this. They'll do the same thing in a practice where it's like, oh no, judges conference, and you can see there the criteria of when they have to come to an agreement. So it is based on the average score that comes up, and they have to be within a certain range. If not, they need to come together and see where they saw maybe two slightly different things. So definitely discussing something at length. This is probably one of the longer judges conferences that we've seen. It looks like they finally came to an agreement. So they'll get Jaden McDonald's score put in, and then Journey will get ready to mount the bar. I'm
curious to see what score they give her, what they were talking through over there.
You can see on the scoring tower too. So right now, Kaylin Skeel's score is in a lighter shade of gray. That means it's the lowest score coming in, and ideally the one to drop. But Jaden McDonald's score is really going to play into that at this point. So if it comes in lower, her score will be grayed out, and Kaylin's will go back to a darker color. Teammates trying to hype her back up, get a little bit more energy going.
This is a great opportunity for them to be really supportive and loud, because again, it's almost like a reset that you're having. And also it's taking time away. She hasn't touched the bars in a long time. So being able to stay warm, keep your body warm, not only mentally, but also on the physical side, there's some factors there as well. See her flip her hands into the straddle Jaeger. Couldn't quite get her grip over the bar, unfortunately.
And again, that is one of those challenging things. Almost, I've equated it in the past, almost to like icing the kicker.
It's a really good comparison, but she had a really nice body extension after she flipped, and you just saw her fingertips hit the bar. You have so much momentum and power going into a release move that if your whole hand is not over the bar, it's really difficult to hang on with so much coming down. So she'll go back, chalk up again. It looks like she's not gonna restart her whole routine. She's just gonna pick up where she left off at this point. Nice handstand. Just gearing up for her dismount. Double layout. Really big double layout. But again, had that fall, so that'll be that 5/10 deduction. That's the score that they're gonna drop.
So again, in gymnastics, 6 gymnasts compete. The top 5 scores count. So yes, they will luckily be able to drop that one. Kaylin Steele's 9.65 is going to play in, so that 48.8 should be the total for the West Virginia bar team. As we take a look at Meg Adler exhibition, one of the seniors on this team.
And that looks like a stuck Yurchenko full from this angle. Maybe a little bit of feet movement there. We'll take another look from this angle. Really impressed with all of NC State's approaches and blocks onto the table. The judges are looking at, you want your elbows to be straight. So they're too bent, you're cutting off of your power. It's going into the back half of your vault. So NC State has done a great job just with the technique all around.
And we've seen that Yurchenko full so many times. It is a difficult skill to stick, and to stick it on senior night, it has got to be just such a great feeling. All right, exhibition over on the uneven bars. This is Miranda Smith. You can see there's Smith, a senior out of New York. We'll see a lot of exhibitions from the seniors, just giving them one more opportunity to compete, put all their hard work out on the competition floor.
It's important to keep in mind too that since we are towards the end of the season, you never know with athletes that maybe are more tired, or you never want an injury, but if those do happen, you have people in exhibition spots and alternates that are able to jump in. So regardless, the experience that they're getting is good. Nice dismount to finish off that bar routine.
So a great job out of Smith in that anchor spot in the exhibition for West Virginia. So that concludes rotation number 1. NC State finishing up on top with a 49. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break.
It probably feels like they just got to Morgantown, but their senior night has arrived already as West Virginia plays host to the BYU Cougars.
Kayla has done such a great job this year. I know everybody, coaches, teammates, family are very proud of her. And a stunning landing for Kayla. Beautiful. And she nails it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. She's definitely maturing, figuring out her gymnastics. Really getting into her routines because I do feel like she's getting more confident. Such a fun routine to watch. They did a great job at coming back to the unity and the family of being a whole.
It is senior night here in Raleigh, North Carolina. We just took a look at the 4 seniors from West Virginia. Sorry, the 3 seniors, Brooke Irwin, Carly Nelson, Miranda Smith, all who have made huge contributions on this West Virginia program. And then the NC State seniors as well. Don't go anywhere after the broadcast. NC State's gonna have their senior celebration. Maddie Reed, Kaylee Adamides, and Meg Adler. Again, all 4 gymnasts that have spent their 4 years with the Wolfpack and have just made huge contributions overall to the success. All right, again, after one event tonight, NC State has the early advantage. Senior night continues when we return. We have gymnastics left to come on senior night. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the break. inside Reynolds Coliseum. Here's a quick look at the standings after the first rotation as NC State narrowly edges out West Virginia on this Friday night of gymnastics. Let's take a look at the top 2 routines for rotation number 1. Maddie Hall on vault.
The best vault we have seen tonight, huge Yurchenko full, ends it with a stick. She did such a great job with all the points of emphasis we talked about, body position, and then being able to absorb that landing with all that power.
And then Amber Lowe out of West Virginia, what a routine.
Another standout routine for them. You saw the extension she had on her release moves, handstands on top of the bar, all the way through the routine, and then ending with that double tuck, breaking out, another stick.
So great routines all around. And NC State only has a 2/10 lead. You see there Maddie Hall with that top vault score, that 9.85, to put NC State over the top. West Virginia moving over to the vault. NC State going to rotate over to the uneven bars. To take a look at the lineups, Ava Myers in that leadoff spot for the Wolfpack. Emerson Smith, one of the sophomores, going to get started for West Virginia on the vault as well.
We mentioned it with NC State on vault, but for West Virginia as well, we're going to see a lot of those Yurchenko fulls. So again, that 9.95 start value.
It's a great way, even though it's all the same vault, it's a great way to actually see what the judges and how the judges are differentiating on height, distance, dynamics, the stuck landings, the tiny hops, the big hops.
Exactly. How can you make your vault different? And Emerson Smith, starting out with a stick, she is answering to that.
She has been a solid leadoff for this West Virginia vault team. Season high of a 9.825 that she's hit 2 times this year.
She did a great job pushing away from the table. If we're being picky, there was a little bit of pike down coming into her landing. So the judges may deduct on that, but again, minimize the rest of the deductions with that landing.
So sophomore in the leadoff on vault, sophomore in the leadoff on bars as Ava Myers mounts.
We saw her on vault earlier and talked about the extension that she has in her body, but on bars, she's really able to shine with this. You see how she's pushed out all the way from her shoulders through her toe point. So far, a nice routine for her. Huge height on the double back, into a stick. That's a great way to lead off the bar lineup. Really gives the rest of the athletes the opportunity to build off of that routine and off of her score.
Leadoff spot last week with a 9.85, helping NC State to a 49.275 team total.
The standout of that routine being the height she gets. You saw her hip rise and rotation on that double back.
Kayla Smith, event number 2 of 4, again, just a freshman.
Another stick for West Virginia. This is when the sticks are contagious, comes into play. But you could see, again, these vaults all being so powerful. So trying to control that can be difficult. You could see when she approached the table too, she started twisting a little bit early off of that. Again, this is taking a close look, but sometimes that can take away from the height you're able to get.
She went 9.825, and again, only out of a 9.95. So if you take a half tenth, a full tenth, you're already down into that 9.8 range.
That's that emphasis we always talk about, and those half attempts end up adding up with the total score. And gymnastics is the type of sport where a game changer could be the step of a foot.
Absolutely. So finishing up another judges conference on the uneven bars. This is for Ava Myers' score. As you can see there, Emerson Fisk getting ready So both teams starting with a sophomore followed by a freshman. Also note NC State debuting some new leotards tonight.
That's always the exciting part of gymnastics, the new leotards.
The new leotards.
All the glitter.
I believe this one is called Firework, which I like.
Just like on all the other events, bars is similar where even though you're constantly moving, you still have to have a rhythm in cues and breathing that you're doing the whole routine through. I feel like we talk about it and see it more on an event like balance beam, but bars is the same thing. So far, she's done a great job pacing this routine, ending with another stick.
They are just matching each other 1 for 1 tonight. Emerson Fisk, a career high last week of a 9.825, and that looked just as good to me.
See the Maloney, the extension she gets as she reaches for the high bar, down into the pack salto, then the dismount finishing it with the double tuck, holds the stick.
So back over to the vault, the senior Carly Nelson.
Another full. We've seen a lot of those, so again, what makes each one different?
West Virginia getting started really strong on vault, a couple of 9.8s.
I've really enjoyed watching all of their vaults, though. All of them very clean throughout. Saw a little pike down there, but their landings, they're doing a really nice job of spotting them, knowing where they're at, and being able to control and really absorb those, which can be difficult when you have too much power.
So Emerson Fisk puts up a new career high, 9.875, and that reaction says it all. Anytime you get a new career high is always fun and exciting.
Absolutely, and on top of that, the first two in their lineup are really giving NC State an opportunity for a high bar score.
Maddie Reed, one of the seniors on this Wolfpack team. Coach Landra says she is just so passionate and driven.
She's a very dynamic bar swinger. Really huge height on the dismount, the full out, drops it in.
I love the height that she completes the rotation above the high bar.
Sometimes we don't even realize it, but when you're going for the dismount, it's all about the timing, the release point. It all has to be in sync. But you see her release combination right there. Gorgeous extension on that. I love her toe point. And then again, the hip rise on the release.
Back over to the vault. Taylor Toohey, a vault specialist, but actually made it into the 4 lineup these last few weeks. So we'll get to see her a second time.
Yurchenko full, came out for that landing. I thought she had it. Small step forwards. Again, that comes from the chest being down slightly over your knees. But she was going for it, and so I like that, you know, she wasn't conservative with it. She broke out in order to spot the ground. Just couldn't quite hold on. Take another look here. She pushes off. So close.
Absolutely, right there at the end, a couple of season high, career highs of a 9.825. So again, West Virginia's vault scores really coming in strong. Caroline Volk over on the uneven bars, from right down the road in Holly Springs.
Right away, she starts off with a big release move. Take a look at her extension she gets on this ray. Huge. When she catches her elbows, that's what the judges are looking at. Goes right down into the bail, which is very difficult to do. Just has her dismount. Double layout, drops it in.
She sticks that so many times. It is just so gorgeous to watch.
We've seen her do that so many times. Just like Rachel mentioned. But the highlight of this routine right here, look at the height and the throw she gets. She is able to catch it almost in that full body extension, and then does a nice job extending her body position on the double layout as well.
She's had some big scores this season, a 9.9 and a 9.925 earlier on, so we'll see if she can get that tonight. As we move right back over to vault, this is Carly DiCello.
A lot of power into that vault. You can see, look how far back she lands. Again, we always see the height off of the vault table, but that distance, sometimes we don't realize how much power and momentum that takes to build going into your vault. So watch right here. In the beginning, she's able to get all of that power. Again, momentum.
Absolutely, the height, the distance, and the dynamics on vault are huge.
Typically, we see one or the other, so to be able to do all of them is impressive.
So Volk puts up a huge 9.9 on the uneven bars. Ellie Hadrick, the junior, following up the score here.
She's another great bar worker. You've seen her all year on this event. She's very bouncy on the bars. You can see how she goes right up to the handstand. Drops the Jaeger into the bail. Then again, on top of the bar, looking for a stick on this dismount. And she gets it. Wow. They are going routine for routine, stick for stick.
Absolutely. This Wolfpack team is on fire tonight on the uneven bars.
I think a lot of that comes from your leadoff and how they set the tone. But you see again that release move, she gets so much height on that. And right here on the dismount.
Season high of a 9.95. They won another one. They won it above Caroline Volk's score. So Hadrick in the 5th spot. Sophia Rice anchoring this team. And this will actually be a different vault for West Virginia.
We're going to see her do a souk full. That's your 10-0 start. A little bit crooked. We could see it from this angle. She had to take that step over. But again, a unique and more difficult vault. She does a round off onto the table instead of our typical Yurchenko, whereas the back handspring. So see here, you really have to have a lot of push off the table because when you approach, you're on the front end of that. So again, that rotation aspect is hard to get and build on that vault.
And she's been near perfect. She's got a career high of a 9.975 on that event. So one judge gave a 10. Ellie Hadrick finishing up, just waiting for her score to come in. Katie Harper, junior out of, oh wow, Ellie Hadrick has a 9.975.
That means that one judge did give her a 10 when you're averaging them out. So
one gave the 10. Congratulations to Ellie, another new career high. Katie Harper, not to be outdone with those 11.99 pluses.
If anyone can keep the momentum going, it's Katie Harper on this event. We talked about her earlier and all the 9.9 she's gotten on bars. And so far, so good on this routine. Can she stick it? Ever so slight with the foot. Tiniest slide back. Well, you never know what the judges see from their angle, so still a really nice routine. That's going to be a good score for NC State, and not only a good score, but take a look at that lineup on the right side of your screen. That's what you want in any event. You want to see your lineup build from start to finish. Look at the extension. She's in a straight line all the way on that double layout. See the celebration at the end. They're excited, they're pumped. How are they going to take that momentum and move it towards balance beam and into floor exercise?
Harper only shy of Emily Shepard's record of 16 9.9s on 9.9 pluses on the uneven bars.
We were doing the math on that earlier before the broadcast.
Exhibition Amber Lowe for West Virginia on the vault. Just waiting on Katie Harper's score to come in. Looks like a 9.875.
Some of those deductions probably coming from the slight foot movement.
Absolutely. So a fun spot to be in. This is Kaylee Adamides, the senior out of Long Island, who's been in and out of this bar lineup so regularly throughout her 4 years with the Wolfpack.
She's another gymnast that has great lines and extension in her gymnastics, especially on bars. You can really see it in her handstands. Into the blindfold double tuck.
So much fun for Kaylee on her senior night, last time competing in Reynolds. But I just want to call out NC State on the uneven bars. That 49.5 is a new program record. They had a 49.45 against Temple back in 2022. So this bar team on senior night sets the program record. Don't go anywhere. The second half of the meet coming right up. We are halfway through senior night here in Reynolds Coliseum. NC State takes a big lead, posting a new program record 49.5 on the uneven bars. We'll take a look at the ACC standings. Stanford and California, they are competing tonight in a tri-meet. If you want to stay up, it's at 10:30 Eastern time on ACC Network. One of them will take home the regular season ACC championship. And then postseason ACC Conference Championship next weekend in Greensboro, North Carolina. Both sessions are going to be aired on the ACC Network. You can see there seeds 5 and 6 will compete in a dual meet, just the same format as tonight. The quad meet will be at 7 o'clock Eastern for the top 4 seeded teams, and the winner will be crowned at the completion of both sessions. West Virginia, because they are here, they will be part of the Big 12 championship, traveling out to Utah. And since they've got the same number of teams, you'll have the same format there, dual meet for seeds 5 and 6. and a quad meet following that one up. Rotation number 3 on the back end of this break. Don't go anywhere. Carolina, as NC State is leading West Virginia at the midway point. Rotation number 3 coming right up. Look at the scores. NC State in the lead with a 98-5 at the midway point. Rotation number 2 was huge. We had a ton of sticks, a ton of new career highs. Starting off with West Virginia on the vault. Just stick after stick.
Right out of the gate, you see that Yurchenko falls. She drops it into that perfect landing, feet perfectly together, which I absolutely loved.
And then over on bars, this routine was not one to be missed.
Career high of a 9.975. Hardly any deductions. And then again, that exclamation point, dropping it into that stuck landing makes all the difference.
Absolutely. One judge giving that perfect 10 to Ellie Hadrick along the way. Katie Harper getting some last-minute coaching tips from Coach Landris. You can see their NC State increased their lead by 0.8 at the midway point as West Virginia moves to the floor. NC State on the beam.
NC State coming off of a high on an event in rotation like bars, so it's important to recognize that and get in your bubble for beam. I think sometimes we forget that there's a lot of adrenaline, but beam somewhere you have to be able to calm down.
And Katie coming from that anchor spot on the uneven bar, so she doesn't even have a lot of time to transition.
It's definitely a mindset shift to bring it down a couple of notches. Beam is an event where you want to stay cool and collected. Starts off with that back handspring, back layout series. This is such a strong routine for her, but also in this leadoff spot for NC State. A nice cat leap to switch side. I like the extension that she had on that straddle jump. Front toss. Could tell she was a little off, but was able to cover it. Just has her dismount. Front fall. Looks like a stick in place. That's a blind landing, so it can be difficult to spot at the end there, but really nice job. I just think of the word strong all the way around for this routine. Love the front toss, a little bit off, but minimizes that wobble and then ends, again, tiny little hop forwards.
Absolutely, and that leadoff, we've talked about how important it is. She has started as high as a 9-9 earlier in the season, so she has put up some big scores in that leadoff. Jumping right over to floor, the senior gonna get us started out of Marietta, Ohio. Carly was able to add floor back this season. She'd actually torn her Achilles the beginning of her sophomore year, so she was out of the floor lineup, but able to get her back in.
West Virginia being the away team, it's important for them to stay loud, be supportive from her teammates on the side, especially on an event like floor. Starts with a front tuck through to that double back. I like the height she got on her first pass. It was great technique. Getting ready for her next tumbling pass. See a 1.5 to front layout. No problems there. Another solid leadoff for West Virginia. That's what they were looking for. Building each routine. We'll take another look at her first tumbling pass. Watch the technique. She goes front tuck, has so much power building up, sets up that double back nice. A little bit of a bigger lunge. The judges will deduct just on the slide back with that. You're allowed to take that small lunge, but anything that looks too big, maybe, or that set forward is where they start taking off.
So Carly Nelson, a strong leadoff for West Virginia, jumping right back over to the beam. Caroline Volk.
Her routine opens with the triple series. Really difficult. Back handspring, back layout. And from this angle, she looked a little bit crooked throughout. So impressive to be able to reset in the middle of a 3 combination skill there.
And she actually gets a 10th bonus for doing that triple flight series versus just a single or a double flight, the back handspring layout, step out.
Another front toss. which have become a lot more popular as well. And that front toss, you don't want to be too squatty in your knees. Just a slight knee bend and your chest up on the landing. Or what the judges are looking for. Gainer full off the side. That took a lot of core strength.
Oh my goodness.
And her feet were really gripping on to the mat to hold that landing. But nice job.
Absolutely. NC State had a little bit of struggle on the beam last weekend versus Ohio State.
Look at that back handspring, back layout. Her back foot almost being off on that layout, but doesn't even phase her. And then that dismount had so much power. That was impressive to be able to hold. Her arms were all the way behind her head.
She knows it too. And normally you talk about grabbing the floor with your toes. I didn't know your heels could also grab the floor, but she was able to somehow. All right, back over to the floor. This is Auden Peterson, a floor specialist for this team, scoring as high as a 9.875 this year. Just one of the freshmen.
She starts with a front layout into a Rudy. It's a front 1.5. Floor is such an endurance event that the tumbling's difficult, but going all out on your choreography really adds on to that too. Next pass, really nice double pike. She was able to get really high in the air on that takeoff.
We talked about earlier that Coach Jason has to work with his freshmen on almost toning down their practicing, and part of it's because you compete 13 weekends in a row. You can't just go out and do, maybe 15 tumbling passes like you used to do in club, but that was a fantastic routine out of Auden.
One of the highlights for me was her second pass. Right here, look at the height. She sets her arms up on the takeoff and then was able to break out. Floor, an event with so much power, makes it harder to control the landings when you're so high in the air. So nicely done.
Third up on the beam, this is Autumn Rarden, one of their freshmen, went 9.825 last week.
I've really enjoyed watching her gymnastics this year. Starts off with that front toss to the back handspring. So that was her series combination. But only a freshman, she gives off so much confidence in her gymnastics.
She really does. Sometimes I forget that she's a freshman.
You can tell on an event like beam, she's just so aggressive with each skill, but even with her dance, she's very much found her rhythm. Just getting ready for her dismount off the end of the beam. Switch lead into that back pike gainer. Lacked a little bit of rotation on the gainer, but overall, a nice, solid routine. The deduction's gonna come from that chest down, hot forward. Landing.
We'll take a look at her acro series, a unique front to back combination.
You see the smooth connection. The judges will start deducting if you don't have that consistent swing through from one skill to the next. They want to see that connection, or then it starts to affect your start value.
So a couple of strong starts for the Wolfpack as they are halfway through their beam lineup. Journey Lane in the third spot for this West Virginia team. Following up Auden Peterson, you can see they're a 9.825.
This is a great opportunity for her to reset. She had a mistake on bars. But it's so important.
Gorgeous.
To be able to leave that behind and move on. Looks like she's had no problem with that. Beautiful first tumbling pass. We're seeing a lot of lead combinations that are more difficult this year as well. A lot of two-pass floor routines, tumbling-wise, but then throwing in that extra difficulty in the jump and lead combinations. So those are just important to keep an eye out on. Not only the connection aspect, but the extension, that 180-degree split. A difficult front double full there. That's an E pass. So when talking about difficulty, A to E, A being the easiest, E being the most difficult in the code of points for gymnastics, ending with an E pass is never easy. But what a nice routine from Journey Lane.
Her head coach said she has just been practicing so well in the gym. She missed a couple of weeks on floor back in February, but really got everything together.
You would never know it, the height that she got on each skill, and then again, on a front landing that's blind, it's very difficult to have not only the power, but the height on that as well, and to control the landing. So that's going to be a good score for West Virginia.
Absolutely. So halfway done with rotation number 3, Maddie Hall in the 4th position for this Wolfpack beam lineup. Really hoping that their scores can start elevating, pulling in a couple of 9.7 pluses.
And all of the hits so far have been clean, but just those wobbles here and there. That's why as they're approaching postseason, they're in airplane mode coming from a routine standpoint. It's more of those small details that we've been calling out. So on this routine, we've seen a couple of bobbles here and there from Maddie. Front aerial to beat jump. She's very elegant on this event. Notice her finger, how she does her dance with her fingers. Into the gainer fall. You can tell she's not thrilled about that routine. We've seen her do phenomenal beam routines week in and week out. So again, she stayed on, but it's that point in the season where they're really looking for those no wobble routines ending with the stuck dismounts.
It is, and sometimes once you have one of those small wobbles, especially early on, it gets in your head, and then it escalates and you have more wobbles as you go through the routines.
You're having to finish out the rest of that routine, so still looking to build, but impressive that, again, their hit routines, we're just being picky because that's what it's going to be like at championships and in the regional competitions.
Absolutely, and they're not hoping to finish at regionals. They want to make it all the way to the national championship. But Kayla Smith, 3 out of 4 for the freshman all-arounder.
Getting ready for her first tumbling pass. Huge double layout. Wow.
She made that look like it was a walk in the park.
Phenomenal job on the extension on both flips in the air. She's a gymnast with so much power. So floor is just an event can really shine on.
As a freshman, she's gone 9-9 on this event.
Front pike through to the double back. That is going to be a big score for West Virginia as she finishes up her routine. Not only impressive to do a double layout, but then end with another double tuck pass.
What a routine out of Kayla.
Most impressive how she was able to really absorb the landings. She whips around the rotation, spots the landing. She knew exactly where she was in the air, and then did a front pike, which is more difficult, but also unique. Again, no power issues there. Her chest was up on the landing, that small lunge back. So again, looking at West Virginia and their scores.
Absolutely, putting up some big floor scores, hoping to get rid of that 9.75 from Carly Nelson. We'll take a look over on beam. Addison Tackett, the beam specialist for the Wolfpack.
She's been so fun to watch on this event all year. Has been so consistent, but also is really aggressive on balance beam, which is hard to do.
The Wolfpack really needing a couple strong scores here at the end of the lineup.
Back handspring, back layout. Saw her front foot come off the beam a little bit. That makes it difficult to hold on to that lunge. So we saw a wobble there. Showing off her flexibility.
I'm always amazed by that. I feel like my back would snap in half.
Just has her dismount left. Back handspring 1.5. Gorgeous dismount. You really saw that absorption she got on the landing of that. But look at her acro series. This is where we saw her wobble earlier. She does that handspring back layout. When that front foot comes up and your hips turn, that's where it gets tough to save and stay on the beam. So you see her feet and her toes literally gripping the beam. Nice job staying on. And then standout moment right here. Look at her eyes looking down at the beam. That's where she was spotting on the mat. So maybe not the routines that they necessarily want, but impressive that they're still moving through their lineup, hitting.
Absolutely, they are still fighting, and they have floor left, which is great. That's one of their best events. Speaking of floor, we'll go right back. Emerson Smith.
Another very consistent athlete that we've talked about. Starts with a full in.
Out of a round off, which was so unique.
Typically you have that back handspring in there. She did not need that. West Virginia's floor lineup doing a lot of big skills. We've seen a lot of double tucks, double layout, full ins now. A lot of E passes.
West Virginia's floor team went 49-3 just a couple of weeks ago. So they are definitely capable of some big scores.
Just has her last tumbling pass left, coming up. front layout into the Rudy. Didn't even need the lunge there, had a stick. Nice job on that routine, but again with their lineup, throwing those big skills, not being conservative. We see a lot of times teams going with maybe the more easy passes or not going all out on some of their skills, but not for this team. Look at the extension she gets on all of those jumps. And then her last pass, she does the front layout, extends, and then gets that height, punching in to the Rudy on the second skill. Took the lunge just because.
Just because you can on the floor. Why not? You have to stick on the other event, so why not take the lunge when you can? All right, so Emerson Smith following up some 9.825 pluses on floor for West Virginia. Sanaya over on the beam had a fall last weekend. Fell on her side aerial.
Beam is already a tough event as it is, but when you do have a mistake the week prior, it's difficult to not let that stay in your head or in your mind. Try not to think about it, but these athletes do such a good job of being able to move on. You have to in a sport like gymnastics.
And that's really her first big mistake this year. She has been so solid on not only beam, but every event.
Sometimes flukes just happen. Saw on that leap combination, she was a little hesitant after the switch leap. I'm not sure if the judges noticed that or if they'll deduct a bit. No issues this week on that side aerial.
And we've talked about it before. Sanaya's one that you can't tell any emotion while she's competing.
She has such a competitor's mindset. Into the routine with the stick. So really nice job. That was one of the better ones that we've seen tonight from their lineup. But we'll take another look at this leap combination. You see she does the switch leap to start out and just pauses for a sec, was a little off, kept her arms moving through. But again, that's just dependent on how the judges take it, and then the dismount, that back handspring gainer off the end, gave them no reason to deduct there.
So a great job thinking on her feet, adding that extra jump, just in case the judges did take that connection. And I know a sigh of relief from Sanaya on beam after last week's fall. Final competitor in the lineup is Sophia Rice.
She's the last one to go in their lineup, their anchor. But notice how they're already at that 49.05 before her score. So they're definitely going to be happy with that. Rudy to split jump. She was able to keep that in bounds. Fun choreography.
Their assistant coach, Kaylin Millick, actually does all of the choreography for this team, which is fantastic. She puts a lot of effort in, as what Coach Jason said, really tries to tailor it to each gymnast.
It's really important to tailor it, like you mentioned, to each athlete, because you have to be comfortable doing that every single week. And every gymnast has a different style. That's what makes them so unique. Gorgeous pass on that front layout to front full. Nice routine to finish out West Virginia's floor rotation.
So a phenomenal job by the West Virginia floor team. Again, hoping to drop that 9.75 out of Carly Nelson, add an extra, maybe 10th and a half to that overall team total.
I think this will be a good score for them. see her first pass. She sets up for that Rudy. Huge split jump right there. And then, of course, her teammates doing her dance with her. It's one of my favorite parts of floor to watch.
Exhibition spot for the Wolfpack on a beam. This is the senior Maddie Reed.
Really special to be able to exhibition on senior night. And it can be an emotional meet for NC State. It's their last time competing at their home arena.
And Maddie has exhibitioned before, just not at home. So what a fun opportunity for her.
It's really special. And so far, this has been a great routine to watch. She's been so sharp with her landings. Ending back handspring, back layout. Fortunately, was just off on that series. Finishes with the back handspring tucked 1.5. So a nice exhibition routine for the senior.
Absolutely. Even with the fall, the routine itself was gorgeous.
She did a great job moving through that routine. Again, she did fall, but that doesn't count towards NC State's score.
And then we've also got an exhibition on floor.
West Virginia on floor exercise. In exhibition, Taylor Tui.
Taylor, the sophomore, she's been in the lineup the last 4 meets, going as huge as a 9.9, exhibitioning tonight.
Another 1.5 to the split jump. That pass can be really tricky because it's all about the timing. When you do the Rudy and you're adding something in after it, you have to have that control. Getting ready for her last tumbling pass. One and a half to front layout. Ending with a strong routine for West Virginia in that exhibition spot.
What a fun routine. What a fun floor lineup for West Virginia as we close out rotation number 3. See him putting up a big 49.075 on that event. So they closed the gap. NC State ahead by just over 5/10. Rotation number 4 coming right up. We are back in Raleigh where the Wolfpack are celebrating their seniors tonight. NC State still on top by about 5/10 of a point. Let's take a look at the national qualifying score, or the NQS breakdown. This is what's used to determine the postseason and who makes it in. One big thing to note, Sydney, is this year all scores count, whereas in the past it's been 6. So that is a huge difference, but you can see there you count all of the away scores and 5 of the lowest home scores. So NC State really trying to replace some of those. Drop the high and the low, you average them out. There's a whole big formula that goes into play, but that's how they are calculating the rankings. And then you can see the top 36 teams actually qualify to regionals, which is that first weekend in April. The top 8 from those advance to the championships. We've got the regional host sites, and then the championship, as always, in Fort Worth, Texas, April 16th and 18th. All right, let's talk bubble watch. NC State and the rest of the ACC, all teams are in. Pitt right now, very interesting, is the first team out. But they have another meet this week and an opportunity to maybe leapfrog from someone else against West Virginia.
It's a bit of a pressure situation for them because they definitely know how close they are. So that's something to keep in mind as they're competing in their next meet.
So they've got a tri-meet on Sunday. West Virginia doing the dual meet weekend. But do not go anywhere. The Wolfpack is going to have a floor party in just a few moments. We have one rotation to go. NC State is going to be on floor and West Virginia on the beam. The score right now, NC State in the lead with a 147-225. And Sydney, we've had a phenomenal meet. What are your thoughts up to this point?
NC State had a great bar rotation, came over to beam, had some wobbles here and there, but now heading into one of their best events, floor, where they have the opportunity to really get a high score. And then West Virginia, they have been solid all across each event. So I'm excited what they do on beam. We're going to see them ending on that event. It's difficult, but so far they've been rock solid. So
absolutely. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights from rotation number 3. Katie Harper in the leadoff spot on balance beam.
We saw a gorgeous routine. Nice acro series ending with that front full dismount. Just so confident all the way around. Well-deserved score from her.
And then over to the floor, West Virginia, they put up some really big scores.
A lot of difficult tumbling passes, which I loved. The highlight, this routine, you can see so much power in each tumbling pass. Phenomenal job, double layouts. We saw full ins, tons of E-passes. So their 49+ score, very well deserved for West Virginia.
Such a strong rotation for that West Virginia floor team. You can see they really closed the gap by 3.5 tenths going into the 4th and final rotation.
We talked about it earlier, but West Virginia has just been consistent across the board on all events. Yes, they had a couple of mistakes here and there, but overall, a nice job. Ending on beam is never easy.
And beam it has been their nemesis this season. They started off a little bit rocky, but have really been able to pull it back together probably midway through the season.
This is a great chance for them to finish the meet strong, even on an event that they may have struggled with some this year.
So it looks like just waiting for the judges to take control of their events. Kayla Smith is going to get us started on beam.
She's been so consistent tonight. You can see her scores below.
And again, just a freshman in this leadoff spot.
That's a difficult position to take on. But she's showing so much confidence so far throughout this routine. She's moving through it. See a couple smiles here and there. Just getting ready for her dismount. Round off 1.5. Good for West Virginia. Again, that's exactly what you want to see at an away meet from your leadoff.
Absolutely. The goal was 24 for 24. They did have the one fall on bars, but it didn't have to go towards their counting score.
They're definitely happy with their competition so far, but especially this routine right here to start off their beam lineup.
Phenomenal job from Kayla Smith in the leadoff. One freshman to another. Emerson Fisk in the leadoff for this Wolfpack floor team.
This is when NC State can really use the crowd and the energy to end this competition. She starts with a round off back handspring to the double pike. Judges really looking at their landings on their tumbling pass. Where's their chest at? How bent or squatty are they? You want to try to minimize how deep your squat is on the lunge. She ends with a 1.5 front layout.
Love all the energy that she brings, especially in this leadoff spot.
That's exactly what you have to do when you're in a spot like that. You are starting that momentum train that you want everyone else to follow. So she did her job there. A nice routine. You can see that deep breath heading into her last pass. That's really important on floor exercise, but that 1.5.
The focus and intensity, just everything going through her brain as far as what's to come. Kayla Smith in a strong leadoff spot for this West Virginia team in that 9-8. Amber Lowe in the second spot.
West Virginia is doing a great job of staying calm and collected so far on this beam rotation. Nice back handspring, back layout. Beautiful side aerial to the beat jump. When we talked to their coach too, he mentioned that they're having so much fun. Even though they've had a couple struggles here and there, that is not taken away from how hard that they work every day, but also just how much fun they're having throughout. And that really stuck out to me. I liked that he mentioned that. Finishing round off 1.5. Another stick. They are spot on right now with their routines. Again, we're seeing those no wobble routines, but also those great landings.
Absolutely. And like you said, like Coach Jason, he said it's just been such an enjoyable season, which I love.
And he didn't shy away from, you know, we've had our struggles. We've had a hard time on these events. And so it was nice to be able to hear that, but also on the flip side of that, the good things that are coming from it as well.
I love seeing him celebrate just as much as the gymnast at the end of the routine. So Fisk putting up a big 9.85 in the leadoff spot. Ava Myers set to follow her up.
And when we're talking about scores, 9.85 is a great starting point for any lineup. First tumbling pass. Double back. She almost went off the screen from the height that she was able to get on that takeoff. And when you have so much height like she did, that's when you've got to have that air awareness so that you can just drop into your lunge.
Such a phenomenal job so far out of Myers.
Just has her last pass left. Front layout into the Rudy. She's happy with it.
I love the playing to the crowd.
That's what happens when you're at home. Such a fun routine to watch. Some great tumbling in there as well.
What a performance out of Myers.
You'll see in this last tumbling pass, she sets up that front layout into the Rudy. I like how she had a rise and more height on the second skill. Now she's facing the crowd, getting everyone into it.
You see him up top there doing the dance with her. I love that. I'd probably play into that crowd too.
Absolutely.
Third spot on beam. This is Haley Mendoza. Another freshman in this lineup. I still feel like I would hit my head on that mount. People do it so elegantly, and I feel like I would hit my head.
It really is so impressive. Getting ready for her acro series. Nice back handspring layout. Saw her arm swing on that full turn. Really nice rhythm throughout this routine. Switch leap to split jump. You can just tell when a team is in sync. And they're doing a great job of showing that right now. Finishing off. Another dismount, same one that we just saw, including the stick that comes with it. Phenomenal job for West Virginia. I feel like we keep saying that, but routine after routine.
And like you said, like they've had some struggles. Even Haley had a little bit of a rocky start early in the season on a beam, but she's really made up for it in the last few meets.
Sometimes it just takes a little bit to get in your groove and find what you need. And once that clicks, then you really can hone in on the details.
Absolutely. Meg Adler for the Wolfpack, spot number 3.
First tumbling pass. Front full into a front layout. Looked like she started slowing down on her rotation, but she was able to cover it well. This is what we see in the air. The judges are obviously at different angles, so it's hard to tell where they'll deduct. Nice job on that switch leap straddle jump. The judges looking for that 180-degree split. One more tumbling pass left. She ends with a Rudy straddle jump. A little bit off on that, but stayed on her feet.
That straddle jump she does is normally sky high.
And we talked about that combination. When you're doing a Rudy into any sort of jump, it's hard to control. It's all about that timing. So if you're slightly off, it'll affect that whole pass. So again, she covered it up nicely. But look at her extension right there. Beautiful job. But then this Rudy sets it up nicely. Almost didn't get the twist all the way around. So the judges, that definitely will be a deduction for them. You saw her move forwards where you want to go straight up and down, or if anything, a little bit backwards to show that you had that rotation and power.
So from one senior to another, Miranda Smith, new add to the lineup over the last couple of weeks.
And that's something that their head coach talked about. We had to go in and make adjustments, whether it was with the lineup, but also some skills on beam, which you don't find that happening very often. So that was interesting to me. You just saw her do a back layout from a stand. So that was very difficult. Unfortunately, was off on that, so had a fall.
So this will be the score that they want to drop. They started off really strong with those 9.8, 9.85s. Haley coming in with a 9.775, but with this fall, they'll definitely want Miranda's score to be the one that is dropped, which puts a little more pressure on Journey and Kaylee at the end of the lineup.
Really impressed with all of their dismounts and their landings. I will say we've seen a ton of sticks, but I want to take another look at the series. Notice how she starts from a stand and goes straight into that back layout. That takes a lot of power and strength to be able to do that series in general. So again, being even slightly off, you don't have much room to be able to correct it.
Such a hard combination.
It's definitely the score that they'll want to drop. Like you mentioned, a little more pressure on the last two gymnasts in the lineup.
back over to the floor. We had a quick judges conference, but they were able to get everything taken care of while beam was going, which is perfect in this scenario. Autumn Rarden for this Wolfpack team, and this one is just so fun to watch.
I always love watching her floor routine. I said earlier on beam how she gives off so much confidence, and only for a freshman, but you'll see it on floor as well. See that again, front layout to the Rudy, into the split jump. Notice the height she got on the split jump, but a little bit not quite as controlled as you'd like to see. Saw that wolf for 1.5 right there, that jump. It's very difficult. Her facial expressions are so fun. You can just tell she's enjoying herself out there every time.
It's hard enough to do the skills and the dance, and then you added facial expressions.
Finishes with a 1.5 front layout. No issues on that pass. So NC State continuing to build in their lineup as well. There's another good routine from Autumn. But taking another look at this first pass, we've seen a lot of the Rudy to jump connections. You see how she had to pike and get that twist around quickly, almost didn't finish it before having to jump quickly into the split. So the judges will definitely take a little bit of deduction there.
But overall, a really strong routine for the start to the back half of this floor lineup. 9/8s and above across the board for NC State so far. Journey Lane mounts the beam.
Pressure situation coming after a fall. Beautiful front toss to back handspring. Notice how her chest is perfectly up on that landing. She's got a great rhythm going on this. And that's important, that you're paying attention to your cues, staying in your own bubble. That's really what balance beam is. That handspring, 1.5. Another stick for West Virginia. And she did her job there. Not only did she do it, but she did it well.
She really did, especially coming off of that 8.825 for Miranda just prior. And you've just got to get back into it.
You can see she ended with the stick like we've been talking about. But even with having that mistake on bars, coming back on the rest of the events and not letting it affect her, and then being in a pressure situation like this as well, resetting for her, and then their anchor to go up, just really impressive.
Absolutely. So Ellie Hadrick on floor. You saw her NQS at 9.88. Following Autumn Rarden's 9.875. So again, these last two competitors looking for some really large scores.
She is set up really nicely to get a high score on this event. She starts with that front layout to the Rudy. That is one of the best that we've seen. You notice the height she got on the second skill on the Rudy. That's what the judges want to see. and she's a gymnast that has so much height. She gets so much pop off the floor. And you can see it in her leaps and jumps, too. Just has one more pass left. She can hit this 1.5 front layout. We're looking at a big score for NC State. And she does it.
So controlled that she just dances right out of it.
Fantastic routine from Allie Hadrick. That last pass, you saw the 1.5 get so much pop in the air, but then that front layout, she's able to almost relax and let it float while she extends her body in the air. Look right here, the height, and then the pop. That heel drive rotation she has, she does a great job with.
So much fun to watch Ellie on floor. She's gone over 9.9 2 times already this year, so we'll see where the judges put this routine.
I don't like to speculate, but if I had to guess, that might be in the 9.9 range.
Compared to the other ones, I would agree. So final beam routine, this is Kaylee Adams for West Virginia.
She's in the anchor spot, so another pressure situation for her as well. See her wobble on that jump, but she kind of went into dance like that to try and cover it up, so smart move on her end. Really pretty front aerial to back handspring. You see on that jump, she threw her head back, losing sight of the beam. She's had great extension with her legs through to her toe point on this event so far. She does that unique dismount, the front full gainer off the side, so the opposite way than we've seen.
Yes, yes. You always see it going backwards. Going forwards makes it so much more difficult.
Take a look here where she was a little bit off. Right there on the jump, and she keeps moving through as if it's supposed to be there with that dance. That is a very smart move. You've got to call that out. And then again, tiny hop forward, that is a blind landing. But West Virginia should be extremely proud of themselves with their beam lineup. And again, they had that mistake. Didn't let it affect the rest of the lineup, finishing strong.
So overall, again, West Virginia able to drop the score they needed to. But we're gonna sit back and watch Sanaya Thomas on floor. This routine is one you don't wanna miss.
It's always one of my favorites to watch, but especially because of the explosive tumbling she has. See it right here on this first pass. Double pike.
Almost too much power on that one.
Too much rotation, but she was able to keep it in bounds. You can see her heel was close to that white line. I just love how focused she looks and aggressive on this event. We don't see a smile typically till after the routine.
And even with that, sometimes she makes us wait till like after the judges, and then the team comes over.
We always call it out, but She does this 3-pass floor routine, just speaking to the endurance that she has. 1.5 front layout. Takes up the entire floor, going from corner to corner there. Again, showing off just the power that she has. There's the smile.
She was a little quicker with it tonight. We'll take a look at this first tumbling pass.
She sets it up nicely right here. She's in that pike position, breaks out, but just wasn't quite early enough on that. The judges will take a deduction because of that bigger lunge, but she did a nice job minimizing any other deduction on her other passes.
So again, the lineups are done for each team, but we do have exhibitions. This is Eden Webster.
A little bit of wait time. Seen it a couple times tonight.
Looks like still just waiting maybe for the final score to be entered. There we go. We got the signal.
We got the signal, but still waiting for that last score for West Virginia. Nice combination there.
That's something you definitely don't see ever.
It's difficult to go back to back on those side skills. Finishing off another round up 1.5. All smiles on her end. A few deductions here and there. You saw the step back on the dismount.
So a fantastic job in that exhibition spot by Eden Webster for West Virginia. NC State also has an exhibition. Kaylee Adamides, one of the seniors on the team, been in and out of floor lineup throughout her years as well.
This is special, being able to do your floor routine at home one last time. Emotions are definitely high in a situation like this. But just getting to enjoy it is key.
I'd actually asked Coach Kim prior to the meet if there was anything different that she was telling the seniors, particularly tonight, because of the emotions. And she said, I'm not telling them anything different. We are in the thick of our season. We'll have our celebration afterwards.
Yeah.
But this is a meet just like any other.
And I think that's a great mindset to be in. You know, she's saying we don't want to treat this differently. We don't want anything to kind of get in the way of that.
Absolutely.
And they didn't tonight. NC State's done a great job on all events. Again, we talked about bars, just blew it out of the water, and then beam. Sometimes it's hard when you're on such a high on an event like that, and then, you know, coming down a bit for an event like balance beam. But they were able to pick it back up on floor exercise. Kaylee finishing off on senior night. lot of fun there with that routine.
So a phenomenal job by the Wolfpack floor team. You see, Meg Adler, a 9.8 is the score that they are dropping, well on their way to a total of a 49.4. Sydney, you touched on it a little bit earlier, NC State being able to come back from bars and having a little bit of challenges on the balance beam. But just to talk a little bit overall for the meet, I thought both teams did a really great job.
Yeah, and both teams had momentum that they continue to build off of, and that's what's important heading into postseason. This was just an extra confidence booster for those teams leaving the regular season, so both of them should be proud. Again, no meet is going to be perfect. It's how you're able to handle and react to those mistakes and little things here and there.
Absolutely. Well, for Sydney Sneed and our entire ACC network crew, I'm Rachel Garland saying so long from Reynolds Coliseum in Raleigh. Stay tuned for the senior night ceremony and final scores.
From NC State, Maddie Hall. On the uneven bars, with a score of 9.975 from NC State, Ellie Hadrick. On the balance beam,
with a score of 9.850 from West Virginia, Amber Lowe. On the floor with a score of 9.925 from NC State, Ellie Hadrick. Today's all-around winner with a score of 39.225 from West Virginia, Kayla Smith. And now for tonight's final team results. In second, with a score of 195.725, West Virginia. And finishing in first with a score of 196.625, NC State. Fans, at this time, please turn your attention to the floor for tonight's Senior Day presentation. First, we would like to introduce seniors from our visitors, West Virginia. From Spring Grove, Pennsylvania, student manager Olivia Pitzer. From Erie, Colorado, Brooke Irwin. From Marietta, Ohio, Carly Nelson. From New Hartford, New York, Miranda Smith. And now for your NC State Wolfpack seniors.
We gather tonight to honor 4 remarkable women whose journeys may have looked different, but whose impact is equally profound. Each one has led differently, loved differently, and inspired differently. Yet together they formed a bond rooted in passion and pride. Their impact reaches far beyond routines and scores. It lives in the hearts of teammates, coaches, and everyone lucky enough to know them.
Tonight, we're proud to recognize 4 dedicated members of our program. All 4 honorees have been part of NC State Gymnastics for the past 4 years, making a lasting impact on our program through their commitment and passion for the Wolfpack. We are proud to celebrate them tonight and thank them for everything they have given to NC State Gymnastics. First up tonight is Macy Bryson, a student manager from Greenville, North Carolina. One of her favorite memories is celebrating the team's ACC championship victory in 2024. After watching the team put their all into preparing for the meet, watching the pieces fall into place as the team won the competition made the day mean that much more. Macy will graduate this May with a bachelor's degree in animal science and zoology. Following graduation, she plans to take a gap year before applying to veterinary school to pursue a career as a mixed animal veterinarian. She is joined tonight by her parents, Jennifer and Kent, and sister Ava.
Macy. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Tonight we celebrate someone who has lived that truth every time she stepped into the gym. From the first time you came to camp, you knew NC State was the place for you. And when you expressed interest in becoming a manager, I knew it would be the perfect fit. Fast forward 4 years, and you are described by the team as uplifting, reliable, and supportive. You have been committed to this program from the day you started, always communicating and asking what else was needed to ensure every practice and competition ran smoothly. You will be remembered for your encouraging attitude and genuine love in seeing each person succeed. Your bright smile is contagious. Macy's favorite memory was watching the team win ACCs in 2024. She vividly remembers how locked in everyone was leading up to that victory. Watching the team's preparations come together on competition day was electric. That win was incredibly inspiring and reminded Macy exactly why this job means so much to her. Macy, thank you for all you have done for NC State Gymnastics. You have been an amazing manager the past 4 years. You will be missed more than you know. I hope your future goals of becoming a mixed animal veterinarian don't have you go too far.
Ladies and gentlemen, Macy Bryson. Next is Meg Adler, a senior from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Meg has competed in 37 meets during her Woolpack career on vault, beam, and floor. She owns career best scores of 9.875 on vault, 9.850 on beam, and 9.875 on floor, a mark she set earlier this season. In her career, she owns 41 total scores of 9.800 or better. In the classroom, Meg has earned WCGA Scholastic All-America honors 3 times and has been named an All-Conference Academic honoree in each of the past 3 seasons. Meg will graduate this spring with a bachelor's degree in psychology. She is joined tonight by her parents, Deborah and Mike, and her Aunt Sharon.
Meg. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Over the past 4 years, you have shown extraordinary growth, resilience, and heart. Through every challenge, every setback, and every chaotic moment, you've persevered, all while continuing to lead with grace and determination. From freshman year Meg to senior year Meg, your understanding of what it takes to succeed, combined with your relentless desire to lift up your teammates, has grown immensely. Your coaches and teammates describe you as relatable, empathetic, passionate, and confident. Qualities that have allowed you to make your mark on Woolpack Gymnastics. You listen, you guide, you inspire. You teach others not to just chase their goals, but to believe in them. And the passion you have to achieving your own goals has uplifted and inspired those around you. Becoming regularly seasoned ACC champions and then winning ACC championships was electric. This favorite memory of Meg's was more than just the thrill of victory. It was captured the advice that you, through the years, have given your teammates. Find joy in the journey and celebrate the small wins. Meg lives her life by trying to love the little things and has taught others to do the same. Meg, Woolpack Gymnastics is stronger, brighter, and better than it was 4 years ago. Your Your impact can be felt long after your competition days are over. Although you will be missed, we are so proud that you will be pursuing your Master's in Health Education and Behavior, a goal that you pursued with the same heart and determination as you've shown here. Congrats on your 4-year career. I'm excited to watch what the future holds as you chase your next dream.
Our next senior is Kaylee Adamitis. From Long Island, New York, Kaylee has served as a bar specialist during her 4 years with the Wolfpack, competing in the event 40 meets throughout her career. She owns a career high score of 9.875 on bars and has posted a score of 9.800 or higher 12 times. Kaylee has earned WCGA Scholastic All-America honors 3 times and all-conference academic recognition in each of the past 3 seasons. She will graduate this May with a bachelor's degree in agricultural business management and nutrition science. Kaylee is joined tonight by her mother, Diana, a father figure, Mike, brother, Robbie, sister, Jessica, and grandparents, Bob and Josephine.
Kaylee, character is what you do when no one is watching. September 2018 feels like yesterday. It began with your very first email, a message that spoke volumes about your determination, drive, and commitment to excellence in the classroom and beyond. Nearly 2 years later, when we were finally able to connect, that introduction grew into the incredible relationship we share today. You are hardworking and full of light. You lead with authenticity, love with sincerity, and pursue your goals with relentless determination. Your work ethic is remarkable, and steady leadership, especially as part of this year's leadership panel, elevates our team daily. You have shown others what it truly means to lead by example, to work hard when no one is watching, to embrace the details, and to carry yourself as a 24/7 student athlete. You understand that greatness lives in the little things, and you honor them daily. When Kaylee reflects on the past 4 years, she calls them the best years of her life. Winning an ACC championship will always hold a special place in her heart. So will that season-high performance at UNC, the routine that sparked the momentum we needed to leave Chapel Hill victorious. But beyond the trophies and the scores, what has meant the most are the people, the friendships, the shared moments. In May, Kaylee will graduate, and then shortly thereafter will begin a new chapter at Northeastern in Charlotte, pursuing a degree in nursing. There is no doubt that she will carry that same heart, dedication, and compassion into healthcare that she has brought to this team, continuing to uplift and impact others wherever she goes. Kaylee, from leading off on bars to becoming the senior leader you are today, and through every step in between, thank you. Thank you for your commitment, your example, your light. You have made a difference in Wolfpack gymnastics more than you know.
Adamitis. Our final senior of the evening is Madeline Reed. From Chapin, South Carolina, Madeline has been a bar specialist during her time with the Wolfpack, appearing in 36 meets throughout her career. She owns a career best score of 9.925 and has surpassed the 9.8 mark 18 times, including 2 scores of 9.9 or higher. Academically, Madeline has earned all-conference academic honors twice and was named a WCGA Scholastic All-America in 2025. Madeline will graduate this December with a bachelor's degree in sociology. She is joined tonight by her parents, Abby and John.
Maddie. Somewhere behind the athlete you've become, and the hours of practice, and the coaches who have pushed you, is a little girl who fell in love with the game and never looked back. Passionate and driven. These two words have described Maddie since the day I first met her. Eager to become part of the pack, Maddie attended camps, stayed in constant communication with the coaching staff, and made it clear that NC State was exactly where she wanted to be. Phone calls, emails, campus visits, and updated videos all brought her one step closer to her goal of earning a spot on this team. Fast forward a few years, and that same passion and drive that helped Maddie become part of the pack also made her become a staple in the bar lineup. Described by coaches and teammates as entertaining, outgoing, driven, and incredibly passionate, Maddie always knows what she wants and will advocate for herself to get there. She has a special way of making every conversation 10 times funnier, bringing laughter to just about any moment. Her passion has been a true resemblance to her teammates to enjoy every step of the journey. One of Maddie's favorite memories is a shared feeling of accomplishment after everyone worked together toward the common goal of becoming ACC champions. Another unforgettable moment was earning a 9925 at the Pink Meet, a score made even more special by the overwhelming support from coaches, teammates, and friends who celebrated the success as if it were their own. Maddie plans to travel and teach English while staying connected to the gymnastics community. She hopes to help young athletes by providing the same support and guidance that helped shape her own journey. Maddie, your balance of joy and determination has reminded your teammates to enjoy the process while chasing big goals. Your passion, personality, and presence will leave a lasting mark on this program, and you will forever be part of the pack.
Fans, let's hear it for Madeline Reed.
Macy, Meg, Kaylee, and Maddie. Great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Through your efforts and encouragement, Wolfpack Gymnastics has accomplished great things over the past 4 years. Each of you has helped bring out the best in those around you. Your presence will be missed, but the lessons you taught will carry on for years to come. Thank you again. We will miss you. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
And let's hear it one more time for the NC State Gymnastics 2026 senior class.